Hello everyone, welcome back to another Martial Arts Monday. So I have some news. When I first started just doing Mondays, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna add some more stuff, let's do Thursdays. And then I started doing good Thursdays, and then I was getting some good content going, but then life got in the way between teaching at the school, and I also build cars, so I'm building this car, and I need to kind of wrap all these things up. So I'm gonna be taking a break for Thursdays for now. And so we're just gonna go for Monday for now until otherwise noted. All right, moving along. So today on Martial Arts Monday, we're gonna be talking about how to do the age-old kick known as the flying side kick. Now, flying side kick has a very deep history in all of the martial arts. It was even used in an Aerosmith music video when Alicia Silverstone kicked that one guy that stole her backpack. You remember? Roll the clip real quick. Some good stuff. In this tutorial, we're gonna talk about how to do a proper flying side kick, two different ways, one running, one non-running, and we'll go from there. So let's get started. Roll that intro. So we're gonna be training alone today because we don't have friends with us like Becky and Drew all the time because they have lives and I don't. So there's going to be three things to look at when we do a flying side kick: distance, timing, and technique. When we do the kick, it'll be a spinning side kick while we're flying in the air. So when we spin, we're gonna turn over our front shoulder, our front foot turns outward, our knee is gonna come into our belly. We call this the fold. When we do the fold, the knee is in our stomach and the bottom of the foot is pointing at the target, and we will be kicking with the bottom of our heel, which is that thing right over here. So when I kick, I'm gonna be turning my hip over. When we do hip turn, what I think about when I tell people is turn your butt cheek to the target. We talk about that a lot when doing side kicks and back kicks, is butt cheeks turning to the target. So it's fun to say it, it's fun to do it. When we turn the butt cheek over and we do our hip turn, it's gonna give the target more oomph on our end, and it's gonna give us more resistance, so we're not gonna buckle in. If I turn my hip outward, I will fold in, which will cause me to have a bad kick aesthetically, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I wanna make sure that I turn my hip over to give myself a lot of resistance and pushing power and driving power into the target when I kick. So that happens when the knee comes in and the foot goes out, the hip will turn over. I will turn my hip over about like maybe 10 degrees, maybe 15 just to turn over. So when I turn the hip over this way, I'm gonna get enough hip turn to where I can drive, but not too much to where I turn all the way over and I fall, because that would probably be a bad thing. Look, there's a guy down there. That's not good. When I kick, I pivot, turn the hip over, and then I am kicking. When I kick, I'm gonna recoil, which means the knee comes back in and then I put it back down. We recoil to prepare for the next technique and to gain balance. That'll be the kick portion of the flying side kick. On to the jump part. So when we talk about the jump portion of the flying side kick, there are two ways we can do it. We can running start, which is what we have our white belts and beginners do. We also have our advanced students do a different version of flying side kick without a run. So we call it no running flying side kick. We don't really call it that, but that's what I'm calling it now. There's gonna be three parts of the kick. There'll be the distance, the timing, and the technique. So in the distance factor, if I start too close, I'm gonna get what we call jammed. If I get jammed, it's the opposite of jelly. It'll be a little bit thicker with a little like raspberries and boysenberries and things like that. Now when I get jammed, I'm gonna be too close to the target. I wanna make sure I give myself the right amount of time to get in the air, full for the kick properly, have a little bit of hang time to work on that focus, and then enough time to kick. So I suggest starting about the same length of you should be the length of the distance you should be jumping from. So I want you to get a tape measure, some chalk, and line that out before you get started. I'll wait. Still waiting. So I'm gonna do the jump takeoff the same way I did the spinning side kick takeoff. I'm gonna wind my front foot up and turn my toes outward, which is pivoting, which is allowing me to turn a little easier, okay? Depending on the flexibility of your ankle, you can go anywhere from about 45 to full 90, it's up to you. I wind up the front foot, I put it down, I turn it outward. That's when I take off. So I bend my knees to prime. This front leg's gonna push off the ground. When I push, I'm gonna tuck both knees in like a bird flying. When I tuck both knees in, I'm gonna fold for my kick and I'm gonna kick into the target. When you jump to practice, you could jump both knees in. So I could jump this way, both knees in. But when I kick, I need to take my kicking leg and turn it sideways. So I'll be just like this. So once I am up in the air like that and my foot is pointed at the target, I'm ready to go. That'll be my fold for the flying side kick. If I get my running start, I wind up, I take off, and I come up and I kick. Now obviously the further you go back, the more the timing and the distance is going to change. So the timing factor is, when do you start kicking? You have to know the length of your leg without having to physically touch something. I want you to train that. So by knowing that, it's about touching the target, putting your foot down, and knowing this distance mentally. This will help out in kicking and sparring, kicking targets, kicking boards, and jump kicking. Know your distance. That'll be the running flying side kick. So when we know run flying side kick, we're just gonna wind up a front leg, put it down, jump up, and we're gonna take off. It's gonna be a little less powerful because we're not getting the momentum and force of a run, but it still will be powerful because we're using our body weight to rock back, to load it, and to shift it forward really hard when we do our jump. So when I do my takeoff, front leg winds up, I'm winding up here, and I'm getting that tuck, I'm getting that kick, turning the hip over, looking at what I'm doing, all the good stuff. Okay, so we have our timing, our distance, and technique. And that, my friends, is the flying side kick. Now, every now and again, we need to challenge ourselves. We need to see just what we're capable of doing. So I'm gonna see what I can jump over and still manage to do a decent flying side kick. Wish me luck. Here we go. All right guys, that wraps it up. That was your flying side kick tutorial. Hope you liked it. Later on, there's going to be a storytelling from one of my students and a little bit of interpretation and background into the flying side kick, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Please leave a comment below and let me know if this is your favorite kick, if you have trouble with it, let me know what you jumped over in your lifetime. I would love to know everything you have to tell me about your flying side kick. So this is Sensei Ichi. If you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. So be sure to tune in every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to check out these videos. I'm gonna be heading to the Martial Arts Super Show this weekend, so hopefully I'll give you guys some content there too. So please stay tuned. Until next time guys, Tong Su.